Today, we're going to talk to fellow Nebraskan about his archery journey. Hi, my name is Roy Canterbury. I'm your host today on Archery Talk 101. And on the show today, we have Eric. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, can't hear your voice. Something went wrong.
Thanks
there
for
we go.
having me. You got me?
Yep, got you now.
Good. Thanks for having me on.
So I see in your profile, you're from Nebraska. What year did you graduate high school from?
I graduated in '96. Live in
Oh.
Grand Island, from Northwest High School in Grand Island here.
Oh, from Grand Island Northwest High School. Okay.
Yep.
I was just wondering because there's a Northwest High School here in Omaha, and I graduated from that one in '73. So I was just wondering if it was the same one.
Yeah, no.
No, well, close. Same name, different city. So yeah, that's
Pretty
good. So basically just have you introduce yourself and then start off with, why and how you get started in archery.
Yeah. I'm Eric Schulte. Live in Grand Island, Nebraska. I guess got started in archery back, back when I was probably 8 years old, when my dad was taking me out, sit in the tree stand with him while he was archery hunting. And it just kind of exploded from there. It's always been a passion of mine and loved it, and got into the target side of archery back in, I believe it was 2009, when I joined the Third City Archery Club here in Grand Island, and kind of just blew up from there.
Yeah, it's always interesting how you get started. Some like you get started off because their parents do, and others just start off with, it's like, hey, I want to do this, and nobody in their family does it, have to do it on their own. But it's always nice when you have your parents can get you involved in that.
Yeah. Got started at a young age, sitting, like I said, sitting in the tree stand with my dad. I was just, I don't know, something about it just got me into it and got me going.
Yeah. So what kind of equipment are you shooting? You shooting compounds or?
Yeah, so I shoot compound. I do own a shop here in Grand Island. I also build strings. Kind of started doing that. Started the string stuff back in 2015, and then bought into the archery shop here in Grand Island back about 2 years ago, and just started getting ready to expand a little bit more of it here this year, and kind of move it, trying to make it a little bit more than what it has been. So
yeah, that's archery is a sport that's been around for 64,000 years, and I don't see it going away anytime soon. And it's once you learn that skill, that's something that you can always pick back up.
oh yeah, yep, and it's frustrating at times too, but just gotta love it.
Yeah. At the shop, do you guys just custom make all the strings when people need new strings, or do you stock any?
I just custom make them. So I'm basically the owner, operator, do everything type person. I have no employees or anything like that. So you bring it in, I build the string myself, I put it on, I tune the bow, I set it up, and help you with anything that I possibly can, I guess.
Yeah, that's always, I forgot to turn my phone off and it beeped and cut you out. Yeah, crazy headphones. They connect to both my phone and the computer, and when the phone beeps in and it sets everything off. So yeah, I forgot to turn it off today. But yeah, I know when I had the shop, I made my own strings too. So that you come in, every string was custom. The only strings I didn't like making is just solid black. That was boring. I was like, you
Yeah,
don't want just black. Pick two colors, any two colors you want. It could
yeah,
be
exactly.
fluorescent pink and chartreuse or whatever, just something custom. And it gives them, the color scheme they want. And I did the same thing with arrows. I didn't buy any pre-made arrows. I just bought the raw shafts. And what spine do you want, and what color vanes you want, vanes or feathers, and what colors. And then
Yeah,
they're all custom made to whatever color scheme you wanted. And you could do your school colors, you could do your favorite colors, you could do whatever. And that's why you go to, a shop like yours, to get that personalized attention.
Yeah. So I offer some that are pre-fledged, and then, if you want a custom arrow, that's an option as well. Really, there's no upcharge for anything that I ever do in the shop. I'm pretty flexible with what I do there. So try to make it just as most cost effective and convenient for people. That's basically what archery is about, is trying to help everybody else, not in it to make a killing off it. I also own my own construction company, so that's my bread and butter right there. So um, back when I got into archery back in 2009 or something like that, there was a gentleman in the club by the name of Rich Brandt. He passed away back in 2011 due to cancer, which was just horrible. But he did the same thing. He would help the person. He didn't care who you were, what your skill level was. He was all about help, and that's basically where I learned a lot of my stuff from, and basically just trying to pay it forward from what he did. Trying to do what I can do to help people out as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, and that's why I started the podcast and started the Archery Talk 101 Facebook group, is to help people out. And if you want somebody to look at your form, I've been an archery instructor since '95, so I've helped a lot of people shoot. And it's like, I'll see people say, well, how's my form? And I'll see comments that say, shoot more, practice more. Yeah, well, that's not the right answer, because that's not what they're asking. And they know they need to practice, but how do you do it? So I'll allow them to upload a video of them shooting, and then we'll give them critiques.
Yeah.
And if you have problems with your bow, because I've been working on my own stuff for quite a while, but in 2001, when I bought my store, I went down and spent a week down in Tucson, Arizona at PSC's dealer school, and learned more about how to tear bows apart, how to make cables and strings. And back then they was using the steel cables.
Yeah.
And that's an art in itself, and how to make those things. And fortunately now they don't use those, because those are a real pain to do. And
Yeah.
they kind of got away from those. So if you have an old bow with a steel cable on it, you might want to just not shoot it too much, because if they break, you're going to spend more to fix them than you will buying a new bow. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, you probably get a lot of people in at the last minute coming in. What's kind of your workload look like at the shop, when during the summertime, when it's not hunting season, compared to right before hunting season?
Yeah, so like right now it's pretty slow. I think I have like 2 or 3 bows that need new strings on them, so I'm working on those right now. But come August, that's when it really gets ramped up down there. And the bad part is for me is that I'm also a mentor in the Nebraska Game and Parks mentoring program, where we take kids out and take them bow hunting. And so that takes up a lot of time. Then I have 3 kids of my own, with sports. And so when people bring stuff in August, it's kind of, it takes a little bit longer to get things back when
Right.
you man that at that time. That it'll get to the point where I'll have 10, 11 bows sitting on the rack at one time during a week. So that takes a lot of time to build them up and then set the bow up and everything. So
Yeah, to do it right, it takes some time to set them
yeah,
up. And I know when I had my store, if you bought a bow, it come with whatever you need to get set up. I set it up, as well as I give you some archery instruction, because I wanted you to know how to shoot. That was included with all my bows, whether you're buying a used bow for $200 or $1,000 bow. It's still,
yep,
I didn't care. I wanted you to be able to shoot. And I taught people how to shoot. And I had one guy come in 2 weeks after I taught him, never shot a bow before, already has a Robin Hood. He come back and showed it to me. He's like, oh man, I just destroyed $20 in arrows. And it's like, yeah, but I got a trophy, I can hang it up in my office.
yeah,
So
yeah,
he put it up in his office. And you don't want to get too many of those. It gets
yeah,
kind of
for sure.
expensive. especially,
that's,
arrows nowadays that, they're quite expensive for the good quality ones.
yeah. Yeah, so like when I get done setting the bow up, I have the customer come in and, I basically try to tune it to them as best as I can. I obviously try to tune it the best I can before they get there, but there's always tweaks that need to be made once the customer comes in to shoot it. So we, you can spend quite a bit of time with somebody
Yeah.
trying to get fitted to them, and sometimes their draw length's a little bit off, so you got to change that, or you see something like you said in their form or something, and okay, let's try this and see if this helps with a paper tear or whatever. So yeah, there's a lot involved in it.
Yeah, I know, you mentioned paper tear. Uh, that's not as much how the bow's tuned sometimes, it's how the archer is shooting it. Because you can take a perfectly tuned bow and you or I could probably shoot it and somebody else shoots it and have a terrible tear. It all depends on a lot of the form. You can take a perfectly tuned bow and make it look like it's shooting bad just by the way you're doing it.
Yeah,
That's stuff we have to look for when we're in there. It's like, why are we getting a bad tear? Because I just got a perfect one.
yeah. A lot of times you got to do that. You let them shoot it, and you try to adjust it, and then you grab the bow and you shoot it once while they're standing there, and it shoots a hole. So it's like, okay, so now we got to start working on a little bit of your form. And
Right.
so
Yeah, I had one guy come in and we put a drop away on his wrist or on his bow. And of course, if you put a drop away on, you have to shoot it to see if it's going to work.
yeah,
You can't see how well it works without it. So I go up there and I shoot one arrow, shoot another arrow, and grouping, stacking next to each other. And the guy comes in and says, I could never get it to group. That time you just look at it and say, well, it ain't the bow. Look at it.
yeah,
It's their form. They can't get it to shoot right, and lots of times that's why they want a different rest, because they think it's the rest, and all the time it's their their technique that's needs to get fixed. And
yeah,
yeah, we probably both have some pretty good stories of things that we've done.
yeah. But it's interesting. I'll say that. Um, I am looking at doing a few more things in the shop to try to expand it some more. So hopefully throughout this year it'll work out for me and bring in a few more options for people.
What kind of things are you looking expanding into?
So right now I carry PSE bows, and I just got a couple fillers out there with a couple other bow manufacturers. Um, we'll see what happens. I don't know, just working with Easton too, trying to get more arrows, stuff like that in.
Yeah, I know. I was a PSE dealer and here in Omaha, and I sold more PSE bows than all the rest of the shops put together. That's because
Yeah,
that's most what I stocked. And I actually sold more left-handed bows than any of the other stores, any of
really.
the
Yeah,
shops. Yeah, because I
yeah, it's
stocked them.
amazing. It's amazing how many left-handed people are coming in nowadays. I've seen quite a few over the past year.
Yeah,
So
and that's why I stocked them.
yeah,
In the low end, I made sure I had low and the middle ends. I had a left-handed in every one of them. Now, in the high end ones, I didn't stock quite as many left-handed bows, but one of my shooters was left-handed, so he could always come in with his bow and then shoot that. In fact, we ordered a new bow in for him for that year, and somebody come in was left-handed and shot his bow, sold him the bow, and had ordered another one in for my shooter.
yeah,
And that's just the way it goes. And hey, your shooters that shoot for you get them cheaper than you can buy them for.
yeah, exactly.
Which is nice because they're out promoting them. And that's one of the things that your staff shooters can do for you is promote your store. And I had another guy used to bring in lots of tuning work. He'd be out wherever he's shooting, and so he's having trouble with something. Hey, bring it in. We'll get you a super good tune on it, and you know
Yep.
bring in business, and that's always nice. And yeah, I pretty much PSE arrows is all I shoot because I had so many when I closed the store. I just kept all my Comp Pro 300s, and so okay, I'm going to keep those because that's what I shoot.
Yeah,
Get my Comp Pro 200s to my kids because that's what they shot, and all the rest of them I just went ahead and sold them off because I only shoot, the straightest shafts I can get, which the comp pros are 1,000 straightness.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that's the nice thing about PSE is they offer a lot of variety for us dealers, as far as options of bows. You got your economy line, and then you got your way up to your high line. So
Yeah, and I know when I was a dealer, they had their main line, which non-dealers could carry, and then a pro line, which you had to be a dealer like you are or I was.
Yeah.
There's a different line of them, and nice of then is I don't know if they're still doing it now, but every other year is when they changed it. So the main line would change this year. Next year it would be the pro line and back into the main line. So you at least had 2 years on each bow. Well, it was still basically that year's new bow, which is nice because they give you 2 years to get rid of your bow before it become last year's model.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I've actually ordered quite a few here the last week since they won Vegas there.
Oh
This
yeah,
shaft.
I
So,
seen that. Yeah, that's good because and PSE doesn't pay as much as some of the other bow manufacturers. So if they're shooting a PSE, it's because they like it.
yeah, yeah. So that was good to see.
Yeah, yeah. Didn't they take first and second both?
No, they got first.
First,
Wait into the or no, Bowtech was second.
both take. Okay.
Then
Yeah,
they got
there's
third in
yeah
the
there's
women's
third.
pro.
Well, that's good. Yeah, you see different events going on, and one of them I seen, I forget which one it was now because they kind of all flow together. I think PSE had first and second in that event. I don't think
Yeah.
it was Vegas. It was one of the other ones.
Memes, I think they did.
Yeah,
Yeah, overseas there.
yeah, that's always nice when I see PSE stuff in there. And in fact, I'm wearing my PSE. I don't know if you can see it or not on the
No,
screen. I got my PSE shirt on. So I just happened to grab this T-shirt today, and it's I've got a couple of PSEs, and my kids are all shooting PSE, and it's when you're dealer, you get a little better price on them, and so they're all
yeah,
shooting good bows, and yeah,
yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
yeah. I've pretty much shot. Well, I've shot Hoyt, Matthews, Elite. I've shot quite a few different bows. I've done quite a bit of target shooting over the years in Nebraska, and started venturing out a little bit. I went to Vegas here a couple weeks ago, so that was a new experience. Obviously, nobody ever shoots as good as they want to out there, but
No,
it was still a good time. But
even if you win it, you didn't shoot as good as you wanted,
well, yeah,
unless
pretty much.
you shot a perfect X count.
Yeah,
They can't get much better.
no, no. But it was fun. It was learning experience for sure, and hopefully I can do it again maybe next year. We'll see what the wife has to say about that. But
No, business expense. You're promoting your store.
yeah, yeah. But she thinks that I need to choose between Vegas and elk hunting, and I don't know.
Oh, well,
It'd be hard to pass up elk hunting to go to Vegas.
yeah, it would be. So, have you been on very many elk hunts?
Let's see. I think last year was my 13th year elk hunting, and I finally shot my first bull elk last year. So that was good.
So you hunted the other 12 years and didn't get anything, or you didn't get a bull?
I didn't shoot anything the other
Oh,
12 years.
that's a long
So,
time to go to get there and finally get your bull elk.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I usually go out to Colorado, and I was lucky enough about 3 years ago to fall into a group of guys from the archery club that've been going, and they've had pretty good success with what they've been doing. So they kind of let me tag along with them and showed me what they were doing, and it was pretty exciting to finally put that arrow through that bowl. And I think it was 28 yards come in. So
Oh, that's a nice close shot for an elk.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, come up and it was come out of the bottom and let out a bugle and come across at 28 yards, and he only went after I shot him. He only went about 50 yards, I think. So
Well, that's not
it
bad.
was fun. No, I've been pretty fortunate. So I've shot several whitetails with bow and arrow, and then I've shot an antelope here in Nebraska to boot up at uh, the Halsey National Forest. I shot one up there. Oh, I don't know, about 8 years ago, I think it was 8, 9 years ago. And then to shoot a bull elk, shot a mule deer with bow and arrow. So I've been pretty fortunate with that part of my archery success, I guess.
Yeah,
Say, I did go to Canada bear hunting here about 4 years ago, and I did shoot a black bear with bow and arrow. So
that's good. How how was that hunt?
um, it was good. It was quite the eye opening when that first bear walked in and was smelling the base of my tree stand. Um, I guess you could say I've never had the shakes so bad in my life at that point. But it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, you don't know if the bear's going to come up the tree or what.
Yeah, yeah. You could just I was just looking at it, and it was just kind of smelling the tree stand and looking up. You could see his eyes looking up at me, and it was just like, okay, don't make the decision to come up that. So,
Yeah, and then obviously he didn't come up the tree. He went off
no,
somewhere else.
yeah. He went out and put on quite a show for me for a while. He was rolling around on his back and scratching his stomach, and it was quite comical. I got quite a bit of video of it. So
Oh yeah, that's probably almost better than if you shot him.
yeah, so that was
Did
fun.
did you end up shooting that one or did you let it walk
No,
away?
it was pretty small, so I let that one go. And that was the first day. So we were way up in northern Saskatchewan.
Oh
We're
yeah.
like we were only like 20 minutes from points north up there, which is way up north. So
Hey, you kind of hate to shoot a small one on your first day.
yeah, yeah, for sure. So I think I ended up shooting one on the fourth day, I think it was. So that was fun.
Yeah, that was sounds like that would be a lot of fun. I haven't bear hunted. That's one of them I haven't done. I'm also just do whitetail. I did moose in Canada with a rifle because it the guy I was going with wasn't during archery season. So like, oh okay.
Yeah, yeah. That's kind of on my bucket list to do next is a moose hunt, but we'll see.
They're a big animal,
Yeah, they are.
really good meat,
Yeah.
excellent meat. So what is your most memorable hunt you've been on?
Oh, memorable. Hmm. Been on a lot of them. That elk hunt was one of them. I don't know. I can't really pick one, I guess.
Lots of them, huh?
Yeah, yeah. I've been pretty fortunate throughout the years. I've shot quite a few deer with rifle and stuff, and um, I guess my most memorable hunt would be uh, last year. Um, I wasn't even out there at the time, but my dad and my oldest son were hunting on our lease ground that we have, and I was hunting with the kids over on the mentoring ground, and I ended up getting a text message from my son telling me that Grandpa shot one. So I was texting my dad about it, and he said, "Yeah, I just shot one." So I thought, well, that's pretty cool. And then it was like 15 minutes later, he texts me back and goes, "I shot another one." So he had shot two nice bucks within 15 minutes of each other. And the cool part was, is he was only hunting probably 75 yards from my son. And so he ended up getting down on his tree stand and walking back and told my son to stay in his tree stand. And he was just gonna go back and wait at the truck. And uh, it was probably about a half hour later, my son texted me and said that he had shot one on that same end. So it was like within an hour, they had shot 3 deer on one end of the property. And so I thought that was pretty cool. And I went out there and helped them recover them and do that kind of stuff. You know, that's something that I'll probably always remember. And my old man will probably remember forever as well, you know, getting to do that kind of stuff with his grandson on property that we've leased that property for, well, he's been out there for 40 plus years on the same piece of ground. So, you know, for him to get the ground back in 45 years ago and then to have third generation hunting on there is pretty cool. So that was probably my most memorable hunt.
Yeah, we're all three of them get one in the same day within just, you know, minutes of each other is
Yeah,
that's always a good one where you can look back on that and, you know, to keep that a property like that for that many years, you know, that's kind of unusual. It's a lot of times I see, you know, they'll sell it off and then you lose it, or the kids get it, you know, and then they pass it down and saying, you know, they don't want hunting on there. And, you know, so that is really good, you know, a good relationship with the owner.
yeah, but we've been pretty fortunate with it. So we've got it again for this year. So we got it 46 years now. So
Oh,
I've been,
that's good.
I've been lucky enough to hunt out there for 35 years now. So
Yeah,
yeah,
when you get a good property like that, that just makes it so much easier to you know go out hunt, and you know you have a good relationship with the farmer, and you're helping
yeah,
them out by reducing their population, and they're helping you
yep,
out by getting a place to hunt, and you know you have a good place to go. And
yeah. And it's not like you'll ever shoot a 200-inch deer on the property, but you know, it's river ground. You'll shoot your typical Nebraska river bucks every year, but
hey,
yeah, it's
you
still
know,
fun.
yeah, I'm not so much into, you know, how big the rack is. I want the meat.
Yeah, yep.
You know,
That's the way
doe
I get
buck.
to be. That's the way I get to be sometimes too. It's not about the size of the deer or how old it is. It's all about the memories and that kind of stuff that you create with it. Then
Yeah,
getting to enjoy that meat for the year is the best part.
yeah, yeah. That's always good because you know it's good quality meat.
Yeah,
You know, there's no growth hormones, no antibiotics, and none of that been injected to it because it's all just natural. And
natural.
yeah, and sometimes you know you have beef and it's like, oh, what's this taste? I don't like it. It's like, oh, it's just beef. Okay, it's just different.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
You know,
yeah. So I think I only shot one deer this year with that elk and everything. It's like there's plenty of meat in the freezer
right?
around here, so we're good for the year.
Yeah, I know that when I had the moose one time, and I had a couple deer, and I got another deer, and there was no room in the freezer for anything. So I just said, okay. I just started making jerky out of it, and the kids are just like, "Is it ready yet? Ready yet?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My kids really enjoy the jerky part of that. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I've been
we used
pretty lucky. My family actually enjoys the wild game side of things, so we've ate quite a bit of the elk so far. And
yeah, my kids all grew up eating it, and you know, there's times when they'd come out and I'd, you know, bring the deer home, and they come out there and see it, and then you know we fix it up. You know, when it's real little, it's like, when that deer is out there, this is it. It's good, isn't it? And they say, "Yep."
yeah,
You know, so they knew where it come from. It wasn't, you know, trying to hide anything from them, and now they, you know, they have no problem eating it. And
yeah,
once you once you figure out how to fix it, you know, it's a little more challenging. You can't just cook it like you would a regular beef steak.
yeah, yeah. That's for sure.
Now, there's no fat in it, so for one thing, so you got it a little bit slower.
Yeah,
You know what? Once you learn how,
yeah. Not
what what's
overcook
been
it.
what's been your most challenging hunt?
Most challenging, probably the elk hunts that I've been on. I've been quite a few different places in Colorado. A lot of work, you know, where we've been going, we get up 3 o'clock, 3:30 in the morning and hike 3 miles every morning. You know, and it's all, we're gaining, I think, roughly about 1,000 foot in that 3 miles. So it's quite a pull to get up there every morning, but
The only thing is when you come home at night, you're going downhill.
yeah, that's a bonus. And if you shoot one, you're going downhill. So that makes it even better. But
Yeah, yeah, that's always the challenging part, especially when you start getting older, doing all that walking, it gets a little bit tougher on us old guys.
yeah, yeah, I just turned 45 this week, so I've noticed a change in the last couple of years of how difficult things can be nowadays. So
Yeah,
takes
well,
you a little bit takes you a little bit longer to recover. I can say that.
yeah. Well, as you can probably figure out, I'm a little bit older than that because, we talked earlier, I graduated high school in 73. So
Yeah,
yeah. So I'll be here at March. I'll be 68. So yeah, I'd sure like to go up in Colorado and hunt, but I don't know if I can, if I want to go through that much physical activity to hunt.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Go
think
around here, climb a tree and sit.
we have one guy that I think he's 65 or 66 that's still going with us up to Colorado elk hunting. And the other one I think is 60. So they're getting up there, but nice thing is they go a little bit slower up the mountain, so that helps me out. I don't have to
Yeah.
work as hard.
Yeah, we do have a tendency to slow down. It's not a big rush.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll get there
Well,
when we get there.
so I don't really mind. I don't complain too much about it, that's for sure.
No. Well, and that way, you go in there and you go a little bit slower, you can look and listen, see what's going on. And if you get rushed, just hurry up as fast as you can. You might have walked right past one that was bedded down next to you and you didn't see it.
Yeah. We when we go up there, we tree stand hunt. We're in the really dark, thick timber and we're tree stand hunting. So that seems to be working the best for us up there.
Oh, I guess I never really talked to anybody that tree stand hunted for elk. They normally
Yeah,
just, bugle and find them and go try and stalk them. That's pretty
yeah,
good. You got an area where they're coming through and just sit for them.
yeah,
That makes it even easier. You don't have to
yeah.
walk all day.
We try to hunt right on the edge of the bedding areas where we kind of think that they're bedding. And it works. The guys that I've been going with, they've had for the last 15 years, I think they've shot an elk pretty much every year. So it's been good.
Yeah, that sounds like it'd be a fun hunt to go on.
Yeah. It gets kind of long though if you sit in the tree stand all day. We usually only do that like the first day or two. Then after that, it's hunt till noon and then go back to camp and go fishing or try to get caught up on some sleep if you can.
Yeah, yeah.
But
After getting up at 3 o'clock in the morning, yeah, you're ready for a nap about noontime, aren't you?
yeah, yeah. Worst part is we go right when the season opens, so it's hot. So at camp, it's
Oh
even
yeah,
hotter.
yeah. Get out the early season before they actually learn they're being hunted quite so much.
Yeah, yeah.
So where do you plan on taking your archery from here?
Well, it's probably the same thing that it's been doing for the last several years. Just try to hit state tournaments and local shoots and probably try to go to the pro-am a few more times or the Iowa pro-am. And I don't know, I kind of wouldn't mind trying to do the ASA side of things, the 3D ASA side of stuff, but that's kind of a long travel, to go out. east to do all those all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's there's so many places you can go with it. You know, that there you just where's your interest lie and just go with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So like when I was in Vegas, I was shooting with some guys from Georgia and North Carolina out that direction. And I was talking to them. I was like, you guys have it made. You guys go to these ASA shoots. You know, they're not far from you guys. For us, we don't have anything here in the Midwest as far as ASAs, you know, like they do out east. So we just have our local club 3Ds and stuff like that, which are fun, but like anything, you run it, you know, those types of shoots, you run into a lot of people that push the pencil a lot. So, and that's what you get with 3D. So
Yeah. Well, and I never really cared, you know, where I placed in there. You know, when I was going with a buddy of mine while he was still alive, we'd go out there. The only thing that mattered was who had to take the crap and who got to give it on the way home.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know, it's
that's
like I beat you, you beat me, and that was our competition, just between the two of us. You know,
yeah,
how can we get better? We didn't care if we ended up in last and next to last or first and second. You know, we didn't
yeah,
care where it's at because that didn't matter. It was against, you know, two of us. You know, and then he makes it fun. So then you don't care. The guy wants to win because he pushed in the pencil. If he wants that trophy that bad, let him have it. I don't care. You know,
yeah, for sure.
yeah, you know, I have enough other ones that I don't really care about another archery trophy and you know, or a
Yeah,
plaque or whatever they're giving out. You know, I have them from other sports I was doing, and you know, yeah, it's just all this like, okay, um, winning is more than ethics, and I don't care about that. You know, I just, you know, I know what I shot, and my score is my score. And next week it's like, how can I get better? You know, what did I do wrong? Did I not execute my shot, or did I judge yardage wrong? And you know, just be better. And I do the 3D shoots just develop better hunting skills.
yeah, yeah. That's a good place to practice on hunting skills, I guess.
But you have a lot of, you don't know how far it is. You got different animals, so you're gonna have to find different spots to shoot. And um, you know, finally, I finally got me a rangefinder last year.
Yeah, them are helpful.
Yeah, I've always just, you know, judged yardage, and you know, you get used to doing that, and you know, it's not too big of a problem doing that. So yeah, it's a lot of fun shooting those.
Yep.
So what would you tell a new archer that's never shot before, that comes into your shop wanting a bow? What kind of be the process you take them through?
Well, just kind of get them, you know, figured out what they're wanting to do with it first, and then getting them set up with something that's comfortable for them is the main thing, and then just watching them, trying to talk them through my process or what I'm doing, showing them, and then watching them, of course, shoot, try to make adjustments to what they're doing, and try to help them the best I can.
Yeah, that's, you know, when I destroy, you know, like you, the first thing is, okay, what are you looking to do? You want, you know, did you just watch the Hunger Games, and you want to shoot a bow like Katniss does? You know, you want a recurve, you know, you want a long bow, or you know,
Yeah,
you enthused by Robin Hood and want to shoot a you know, long bow, you know, or you just mostly want to shoot target for fun. Is our okay, maybe I just want to bow fish with it. You know, my buddies go bow fishing, and that's all I want to do. And so you got to figure out what, you know, what it is they're doing. And but okay, what's their dominant eye? So you know where you get a right-handed bow.
yeah,
And then look at, okay, is there any physical limitations they have? You know, you might be left eye dominant, but there's something wrong. You know, you have some physical problem that you can't shoot your dominant eye, you have to shoot your non-dominant eye, you know,
yeah,
or whatever. You know, once you figure all that, then now you know, okay, what bow to put them in, and then just let them figure, okay, here's the bows, what kind of price range you have. that you want to spend in. And then
Yeah.
just look at it. It's like, okay, here's the bows. How's that feel in your hand? We're not even shooting yet. How's that feel in your hand? Okay. How about this one? Which one you like better? And then you narrow them down and just take them through the process and
Yeah.
and eventually it's like, okay, now figure out what their draw length is, set it up for them, set the poundage all the way down, and then when they start trying them, I always took and, have two bows. At one time I had a guy with 6 bows out there trying to figure out which one he wanted. And then finally I got down, it's like, okay, here's this bow, close your eyes, shoot it. Here's this one, close your eyes, shoot it. Which one you like better and why? I didn't care what the why was, just so they could talk about it. And then I grabbed another bow and then finally narrow it down to you get one. So I learned then it's like 2 bows is all you can try at a time. Take the one you
Yeah.
like. Now they'll go grab another one. Because I didn't want to have 6 bows laying on the ground, while we're
Yeah.
shooting or hanging up on the rack or wherever. And it's just whole process. And that's why I named the podcast Archery Talk 101, to help beginners out there. And the Facebook group, the same thing. And I also have the archerytalk101.com website that I use for stuff out there as well. So just kind of all theme, I want to help beginners out. And I know this last year I went up and helped Nebraska's Outdoor Expo up there at Ponca State Park.
Yeah.
And that was interesting. It's the first I got a chance to help them out with that. And so I'll do that again next year. It was fun.
Good.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, the nice thing about where my shop is at, my store is at, I'm right across the street from the archery club.
Oh, okay.
So I can take them across the street, kind of work with them at 20 and 30 yards a little bit too, and help them get sighted in, so they're not just going out losing arrows in the backyard, shooting at a bag target, can't hit it at 20 yards. So
Right.
in my store, I only got just a short little area where they can shoot, try the bow out, tune it and stuff. But it's nice to be able to walk across the street, show them that, and promote the archery club at the same time. Where I guess I'm the president of that, so I should probably do my part with that as well. So
Right. So what was the name of your shop there in Grand Island?
I've kind of, what's that?
What's the name of the shop?
It's Ultimate Strings is the name of my shop. I kind of just, that was the name of my string company, was Ultimate Strings, so I just kind of rolled it into there. Need to kind of probably revamp it a little bit, but like bow shop along with it or something. I need to kind of rebrand it a little bit, I think, this year to try to make it so it's, people don't think it's like guitar strings or something, I guess.
Yeah.
Not just a string company anymore. It's more than that. So
And what's the address of your shop so those that are in that area can stop by
it's
and see you?
it's 312 North Elm Street, Grand Island. Like I said, it's straight across from the indoor range, from the Third City Archers indoor range. It's also the old Island View Archery shop space is where I'm at. Back when Phil had the shop, he he kind of got me into buying out the string company that from Andy, it was Dynamic Custom Strings from Andy Leahy in Hastings. Poor guy, he come down with ALS, and we lost him just a little over a year ago to ALS. He was a big help with getting me going on all the string side of things and showing me his process and stuff. So I hopefully I'm doing it the way he wanted it and ran, and that kind of thing. So
Oh, you're gonna put your own little twist on it anyway.
yeah, yep. So I made a few tweaks to his process and kind of made my own thing, and been pretty good. I the other night at league, I was sitting there talking to a gentleman who had just put a set of Vapor Trail strings on his bow, and he was shooting, and then I was looking at the line, and it was just like, wow, everybody in here is shooting my strings. It's kind of neat to see that kind of things when you stand on the line and at your local archery club, and every bow on that line almost has your strings on it. So
Yeah, that's good.
yeah. So quite a few of my strings were in Vegas too shooting. So
Well, that's good.
I have a guy down in Kansas that he's been shooting the pro class for the last couple of years. Unfortunately, he was shooting Matthews and changed to Hoyt 3 weeks prior to Vegas, and so he's just trying to get used to that Hoyt. And I didn't get him a set of strings on there before he went down there, but he ended up first day he ended up shooting a 300 down there, so he was pretty happy with that.
Yeah, on a bow you've only had for a few weeks. Yeah,
on the pro line to boot. He's come quite a ways. I think eventually he'll get there and get that 900 that he was looking for. So
yeah,
he'll get it.
yeah. I know it's kind of nice, building strings. I had when I had my shop, when this guy called about a half hour before we closed, and he said, do you have a string, or can you make me a string for my bow? And I says, well, I'm bring it in tomorrow. As we're closing like in a half hour. And he says, no, I've got to shoot tomorrow and I need a new string. Can you make me one? It's like, okay, come on over. And so it was, my tummy stopped in, and it was one of the, I forget which brand it was, Darton. So I had a real thin track. So, you always have a variation between 2 to 4 strands you can run on your strings. And I made one, the normal one, and it was too fat. So I started over, made one, a couple strands less. And he walked out of the door less than an hour later with a new string. Then he had to go shoot at the club. We go to the club and shoot, break it in, get it all set up to go shoot the next morning at a shoot. So that's the advantage of, making strings, is you can do that for a guy you come in, where if you had to stock them, how many strings would you have to stock?
So I don't know if you could stock. I don't think you could stock enough strings anymore.
No, even if you had just your PSE strings, to have all those. And I don't know if they got any better. When I had my shop, the strings PSE put on them were not very good. So my one staff shooter, he wouldn't even, I had to make a brand new string before he even shoot his bow.
Really?
First make them, because they always have a little bit of creep in them, and they're not using high quality stuff because they're doing mass producing them. And a lot of guys don't want their own strings, and they'll shoot them a little bit and change them out. And
like those companies, they got all these people working on them, all these different people working on them, where the local archery shops or the smaller string companies where it's just us building them, get the same build on every string. I've seen a lot of companies, they offer a lot of different grades of strings. You'll have your platinum, you'll have your hunter grade or whatever. And I have yet to figure out how they do different grades of strings, basically using the same material. And I run I run BCY on everything that I do. And so they have 452X and X99 and Mercury are the three that I build primarily majority of my strings out of. It's based upon what the archer is doing. If they're just a bow hunter, Mercury works really good for them because it doesn't have the fuzz and all that, so the strings look a lot nicer. But if they're doing a lot more shooting all year round, the X99 and 452X are the way to go. They hold a lot more in the heat and stuff like that. So, but my process for every string is always the same.
right.
Same amount of stretch time, same amount of twists and serving, and so I never changed my process any.
Yeah, I use 8125. When I had my store 20 plus years ago, I don't think some of those was even out yet. So I didn't have a choice of those. That 452X I think come out since then, and so I have tons and tons of rolls of 8125. So that's all I make mine out of now, because I'm not buying new string material, because now I don't have the shop, I'm not making as many, I'll make a few and stuff like that, redo mine, and once in a while I'll do somebody else's. But, I have enough string that I'll never use it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that 8125 is a pretty good string material.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
They got lots and lots of colors.
Yeah, so I carry, so like on my wall upstairs, so I do all my string stuff at home. I build it at home just so I can be around the family and stuff. Because it takes, by the time from start to finish, it takes me roughly about 4.5 hours to build a set of strings once you figure in stretch time and everything in there.
Yeah.
So, but I carry every color in the 452X and the Mercury. Not so much in the X99. That's more of my like tournament style string that I use for people that shoot tournaments and stuff. It holds it, I don't know, I just had really good luck with it, holding up, and doesn't have that twangy sound like 452X does. So
A little bit
a
different.
lot of my tournament bows that I put strings on, that's what I use for those. So I don't carry a lot of colors in that yet. Guy can go broke if he goes and buys all the colors right off the bat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you got to make quite a few strings to pay for the whole colors.
Yeah.
Oh, generally, by the time you make a string, you pay for the whole roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that can be kind of when you're getting, I don't know how many colors they have in that one, but last time I looked, there's probably about 15 or 20 different colors in each
Yeah.
one. So that's a lot of money in string material.
Yeah. Like 452X, there's I think there's probably 30 to 40 different colors because they have the speckled line in
Yeah.
that as well. So, and I carry all that. So, but I don't really do a whole, everything's anymore is black. A lot of black and red if they're going to do a twist on something. That's maybe a flow green now and then, but black is majority of what gets put on anymore.
Yeah,
So
and I prefer not to use black in any of my. You pick two different colors, pick
yeah,
something unique, and um,
it gets kind of boring building black strings all the time with black
right.
serving.
Yeah, I have all the different colors, and just make something different. I know one time I made a string for one of my shooters. He had a piece. He had I think it was a quantum bow, and what they called the good vibrations. It was a target bow because it was silver and blue, and I think there's 3 or 4 different colors in it, just kind of weird colors. And of course, I had to make a string right away for it. And I made a red and black string. Instead of normally your twists go around, I twist them inside of each other so they form little V's on the string. And one time he had somebody broke into his house and stole his bow. Well, it ended up in one of the local shops. And one of the guys in there, he seen it and says, that looks like Randy's bow, because it wasn't Randy bringing it in. And sure enough, the shop owner called me up, and I give her the serial number and stuff, and I says, I can tell you, I can describe the string on that bow. It's red and green and forms little V's in the string, because I made that string for him. And then there's a little spot worn on the handle because his hand always wore a little spot onto the handle. So I still got the serial number because go back to PSE and say, okay, what's the serial number of this bow that I bought? Because it was the only one in that pattern that I bought.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, here's the serial number on it. And sure enough, he got his bow back. But
That's good.
that's the advantage of having something unique, something nobody else has, a color scheme or something, or a way that you designed it. And I actually made one for my hunting bow that was on there for several years that actually I braided the strands. I had 3 strands. There's like 3 different colors, like a dark green and a brown and a light green or something. I forget what the colors were. And I actually braided them And that was kind of interesting. It made a little bit more of a flatter string, and then you put your twists in it. But that I had that on my hunting bow for many years. You could just do weird stuff like that.
Yeah.
You just twist them just to keep them together, strands together, and when you serve over it, still knocks fast and under just fine. And a lot of work. I don't do those two. I only did those two strings that way because it's a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all right to do that kind of stuff with your bow, but
Yeah. Well, and then too, you have to figure, okay, I'm braiding them, so how much string do I need?
yeah.
Because it takes a different amount of string when you're braiding them, or you're twisting inside of each other instead of around, and that's not quite so much different when you braid them because you're using so much more string material. So then if you don't get it right, now what do you do? Because you have to start over, and that's
Yeah.
just kind of the things that you play on your own stuff.
Yep. Yeah.
I know one time when I was shooting aluminum arrows, I went through and I had the inserts out of it and the tips out of it, and I weighed the shafts after I'd fletched them, and I wrote on each one, okay, how much does this shaft weigh? Then I weighed all my points because I buy them in 100 bags, so I weighed all my points, and then weigh the inserts, and now I'm weighing them. Okay, I'm matching up, so the total weight of the arrow was identical, or as close as I could get it. And there's times I'm filing on the back of the insert before I glue it in, and get the whole dozen all within a half a grain of each other. A lot of work. I did it once.
Yeah.
I haven't done it since because it was how much is it going to make a difference?
Yeah.
If I'm 1 grain heavier on my arrow, does it really matter?
No, because you're still not going to be able to hold that pin right there where that last arrow hit. That's for sure.
Right. And then at what distance? Is that going to make a difference at 20 yards or 30 yards? Now, it might if you're shooting 150 yards, but I can't see that far to shoot that far anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anything past about 40 yards, I'm having trouble seeing it anyway. So I'm not going to take those long shots.
And that's the bad part these days with YouTube and everything. Everybody watches all these videos and everything about, oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. Then they come into the shop and they want to try this and they want to try that. And it's just like, well, that's not going to make that much of a difference. If the variation from when you draw the bow back and how you hold it from one shot to the next and how you put the pin on the target, you're never gonna see benefits from having your arrows completely weighed out the same and all that kind of stuff, in my opinion, I guess.
Yeah, you're not going to see most of because most of the error is in you.
Yeah.
The human factor is what's going to cause more errors than any of your equipment.
Yeah.
Now, unless you're shooting broadheads, if you're shooting field tips, you can take a bow that's not even close to being tuned right, and it's going to shoot the same every time.
Yeah.
When you start putting broadheads on there with the little wings out there, that changes things. But we talked about that at the last podcast. From a broadhead manufacturer, they make mechanicals, and we talked about Aeroflight, and you put a broadhead on. It's best to have your bow tuned best you can.
Yeah.
Because that's going to just make it fly better. And, the arrow eventually stabilize. You shoot long enough distance, it'll stabilize.
Oh yeah.
That's why, you take, the paper tears, you're up at 5 feet, you get a terrible paper tear, 10 feet, 15, 20. By the time you get to 20, 25 feet, you get a perfect hole because your arrow's stabilized.
Yep.
So yeah, there's just so much to do, and things just change so much. And the bows nowadays, they're getting so short and so fast that they got to be getting harder to control. I don't like the short bows just because my drawing that puts that string at such a sharp angle. I have trouble seeing through the peep anyway.
Yeah. That's what
I used to be able to shoot through the real skinny one. Now I need the biggest one, the great big peep, in order to be able to see through it.
Yeah.
And then move it further away, and I can't see through them. I need the little bit longer ones.
Yeah. Yep, they sure make the bows efficient these days. I found that my sweet spot is probably 33 to 38 inch axle bow. That usually puts a peep where I want it on everything. So I try to
Yeah,
hunt with a 33 inch axle bow and target shoot with something between 36 and 38.
yeah. Now they're getting it, some of them even shorter, and like,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm not real fond of the short ones just because, I do have long arms. I shoot 29-inch draw length. I'm actually 20 and a half, but I shoot a little bit shorter. But it's not like, when I first started, went into the shop and I say, draw this, but how's that feel? Okay. I was drawing 32-inch bow. So I'm
yeah.
way back here. And I was like, I didn't know any better. And so when I got the next bow, it's like, okay, I had one, and it was a American Challenger, I think was the brand. The riser actually broke in half.
Really?
I was down shooting it and trying to get sighted up for hunting season, which is starting in, I don't know, 2-3 weeks from then. And I couldn't get the pin sighted in. So that's going on. So I went up close to the range and I go, okay, I'm going to start off again. And I shot, and I'm holding the bottom half of the limb, the bow in my hand. The top half comes back and smacks me in the chest.
Oh.
Now, 2 weeks now I got to find me a bow, 2 weeks before hunting season. And I went out to the shop and I bought my first PSE then. And I shot that for many years, and I eventually sold it. But yeah, I was shooting 25-12s, double X 78s. There again, that's the straightest aluminum you could get. Every
Yeah,
year I'd get new arrows because they wouldn't group no more. And then after I got rid of that one, then I got a Matthews, and I shot that for a while. And then when I bought my archery store, I went down to PSE because I was a PSE dealer. Couldn't be a Matthews dealer because there was one, within 50 miles. In fact, it was even closer than that. But so I go down there and I tell them, it's like, okay, I shoot the Matthews Q2. Which one of these should I be shooting? Because part of going to dealer school, you get a bow.
yeah,
At least then, I don't know if they're still doing that or not now, but so I got the PSE Carrera, 2001 Carrera, and it was rated at 320 feet per second. This is a 2001 bow,
yeah,
rated for that fast. Now I don't get that out of it because you aren't going to get the what's rated at, because it's rated at 30-inch draw length, 70 pound, 350 grain arrow, one
yeah.
knock point, and that's it. If your
Mhm.
draw length changes, it changes. If you're you add a peep on it, changes. If you add, loop, it's going to change it. You're going to have your kiss buttons. So you're going to have everything you add, string dampeners, it all slows it all down. And I put the little string leeches in my string as well as my cables. And you can hear the difference when you're plucking them. Yeah, that twang, and instead of a thud. So
Yeah,
I'll put them in my cables and everything else. This is a hunting bow. I don't care as much about the speed as I do. I want it to be quiet,
yeah.
as quiet as I can. The bows, they weren't really that quiet, but I do shoot it at 70 pounds, but
Yeah, that's what I run into around here is we got a Matthews store not far from here either. That's why I don't have a Matthews dealership up here, but there's a lot of other bows out there that are just as good as Matthews. It's just trying to convince people of that as well.
well, and that's what I found is when people that come to my store, they'll say, oh, well, eventually I'll get the best. I'll get a Matthews. It's like, why? Because they're telling you it's the best.
Yeah,
Great. They do great at marketing.
yeah. It's
And
all over. It's all over TV.
right. And those that come in with an open mind that would look at them and see, that shoot the Matthews, that shoot the high-end PSEs, the Pro Series, and then pick the PSE, those with an open mind and didn't have their mindset on Matthews is it or nothing, be open.
Yeah,
Hoyt shooters, that was a little bit different because Hoyts were really good shooting bows as well. And
yeah,
all you got your Bowtech, your Elites, and there's so many different bow manufacturers out there, and which one's the best? The one that fits you.
exactly.
Yeah, that's my thoughts, is like, if it fits you and you like the way it shoots, it's the best. You know, because
Yeah,
you can take one of them $2,000 bows that don't fit you, or a $500 bow that fits you perfectly. Which one's worth more to you? Not the $2,000 bow. It's
yep,
that 500 because it fits you.
yeah,
And that's what's nice when, in the new archers that are, listening to this and thing, it's like, that's why you go to the pro shops, not the box stores, because you have guys like you and me and those that have shop that know what we're doing. Not saying that you can't get them at your other stores, box stores. Sometimes you have them there. I know I worked at Bass Pro for a while and Cabela's for a while, and we had some excellent bow technicians and excellent instructors, but we'd all worked at shops before. We weren't just somebody that's like, I shot as a kid. Does that qualify me?
yeah.
I,
That's anymore.
I,
That's what you get at box stores, I think.
right. Well, I went at
We
one
have,
time and talked to the one guy, and he actually applied at a different position. He goes, well, we have opening in archery. You know anything about archery? Well, I shot a couple times as a kid. So now he's there in the archery shop, archery section, selling bows, setting up bows, not teaching because he don't know how to teach, because he didn't even know anything about it. But now
yeah,
he's trying to sell stuff to people that knew as much, if not more, than he did.
yeah.
So I'd go in, it's like, no, I don't need help. I just need to open this up. I want to try this release. Yeah, let me try this release. And it's like, no, I can teach you more about archery than you'll ever know.
Yeah. Yeah, we got a box store in here in Grand Island that sells archery equipment, and their employees say, well, here's this guy's number, call him, he'll set it up for you.
Yeah,
So,
but not for free.
yeah, not usually I don't do it for free, but it's kind of frustrating when you own your shop and people go there and they buy that and then they bring it in, but it is what it is.
Well, you make it up on the labor.
Yeah,
I know one thing that I offered, because I sold the low end PSEs, your Nova range, and I don't think place with now, but those low end, they sold those at the other stores. That was just the plain bow. It had the bow, the rest, the sight, the quiver, and then for a while they had a stabilizer on them, with just a piece of aluminum. And then they stopped putting those on there. I had the same kit, but what I included with mine is I included one of the releases, the wrist strap ones. Same thing they sold at True Fire made them, that PC's own branded one. It's the same one. I included the release. I included a half dozen arrows and tips and archery instruction.
yeah,
And so I included all this. So they couldn't price compare. I had one guy says, well, because it was cheaper. They can get a little bit cheaper than what I was selling for. And I says, and he wanted to know, if he thought if he could put it up and set up himself. And I says, well, you can bolt them on, but it isn't on right. And that's what I do, and I don't charge you for that. And I'll also give you a shooting instruction to go along with it. And if you buy it, bring it in, I'll set it up. But that time it's like, okay, I'm going to charge you, I figure it was $20, $40. I think it was $40 to set it up, because I'm going through all that stuff. And he says, I think I'm gonna take it back and buy it from you, because all this add-on stuff he's going to have to do. You're going to have to pay me to set it up. If you want archery instruction, that's $100 an hour. So you're going to be $50 at least into a half hour of instruction, which is included in my bow as well. So there's 90 to $100 of stuff you're getting for a few dollars more.
yeah,
And it's like, I'll just get it from you.
yeah,
Yeah, that was the point. That's
yeah,
why I did that. I added something that they couldn't compare. And I know when True Fire called me up and wanted me to stock some of the releases, I says, well, I'll stock anything Walmart doesn't carry. If Walmart carries it, I won't stock it,
yeah,
because I'm not getting to price compare against Walmart. And then I'd have guys come in and say, oh, you're cheaper than Walmart. So I better raise our prices, hadn't I? Oh no.
yeah.
But then there was things like a hard case, the Plano hard case. My cost to get them in was less than $5 from what they were selling them for. So my cost to get them in is $5. I'm not gonna stock them.
Yeah,
But if you want a good quality one, yeah, we'll order a good one in for you.
yeah, exactly.
So I would stock things that, I couldn't price compare. And weird thing is some things, the Ameristep had a blind that I could go to Walmart and buy cheaper than my wholesale price.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, don't carry it. It's not worth
Yep.
my time.
Yep.
Just and that's what you can find out when you go to the store like yours or any of the pro shops. Is you always have people that know what's going on. And
Yeah.
somebody new starting out, that's what they need. They don't want to go to some place that they're not sure of, what's
Yeah.
going on.
Then right now, for the last couple of years, I haven't, everything that I've sold inside my shop is stuff that I've bolted on my bow, or I've tried, I know what it does type situation. So I don't carry everything that's out there. Everything that I do carry, I know it works. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. If it's in my store, it works. I've shot it, I've shot animals with it, I've target shot with it or whatever, and it works. That's why it's in my store. So
That way, the parts that you're going, you can give an honest opinion of it. It's not just trying to
yeah,
sell. I know, beginners coming in, they don't know the difference between a cheap stabilizer and expensive stabilizer.
yeah,
And, I'd put on the cheap one and have them shoot it, take it off, put the more expensive one on, and have them shoot it. And so can you kill the difference? No. Well, buy the cheap one.
yeah,
Because they're not ready for the more expensive one. I do the same thing with bows, go with a low end bow. For one, if they had that bow that they didn't decide that they like archery sitting in their closet, I didn't feel as bad having, a $350 bow sitting there. If they'd spend $1,000, get the high end bow and all the accessories sitting in there. And like, I couldn't really justify spending the extra money on that. And as you probably know, the profit margin between a low end and high end bow is not much different.
no,
So I don't know what the profit on is, but when I was doing it, it's like basically roughly $100 per bow. That's what I got. Whether you're
yep,
buying the $350 bow or the $900 bow, I made $100. That was
yep,
it. So or I
yep,
made it up as in accessories and everything else. Because the prices are all, the accessories you can do whatever you want with those. The bows are kind of fixed, until they're 2 years old. Then they're kind of, you can do whatever you want with them then. But where I made it was in the service. Fixing bows, fixing arrows, making new strings, fletching arrows. I had Joe Janet had 6 of them, and I had 12 BPEs and like 8 Bitzenbergers. And come before hunting season, they were all full of arrows, fletching them.
yep,
It was just constant.
yeah.
Well, in parting here, what would be kind of your final thoughts that you'd like to tell the audience?
Well, I don't know. I guess my final thoughts would be if you can support your local dealer or small archery shop like that, that's what, they're going to have the most knowledge and help you the most. Support your local shops, and I don't know, about all I got.
Yeah, well, I'd like to thank you for being on the show today. It's been quite informative. I can talk about archery, all day long, but you kind of have to pick different spots and go. So I'd like to thank you again for being on the show.
Thanks for having me on. It was good.
Yeah, my name is Rory Canterbury. I'm your host today on Archery Talk 101, and we'll see you on the next one.